Okay, I want to show you another favorite that I'm doing, but I'm not sure I can get it to work. There, it's working now. This has to do with the Aramaic. Alright, Aramaic is not written in the same characters as Hebrew, and the words are slightly different. But because the characters are so much like Arabic, it throws me off. I can read Arabic, but with great annoyance. So I had this built-in, I'm going to have to get over it obviously, I have this built-in antagonism toward Arabic script and toward Aramaic script because it's just so ugly. So what I've done here is, and what they did with the Targums, this is a Targum, here let me list it up here. See, what's nice about this is that they have indexed it to the Cal lexicon, which is an Aramaic lexicon. But it's not as good as BibleWorks lexicon, so you have to work at it longer to understand what it is. I mean, this is a BW preposition. It's pretty much the same in Aramaic as it is in Hebrew, but there are no vowel points. Okay, there are vowel points here in the text, but there are no vowel points in the lexicon. So you have to kind of get used to that. Alright. And the thing is that the word that's being used and the order in which it's presented is not as good as the regular BibleWorks lexicon. In other words, first you have to go through the BW preposition, but fortunately their entry is short. And then you end up having to search on what this is. This is supposed to be in wisdom. Alright, see right here? Alright. So it's not as easy to read and understand the Cal lexicon. Alright, now here's the thing. Remember I said I hate these morphology versions. You see, you got to know what all this junk means in order to understand what Bud's doing. This is all shorthand, so you got to learn the shorthand. And they're doing it per word, which is fine, and you can see that that's not really, okay, that's not really east. It's not really telling you what the adverb is. Okay? And the reason why they're saying it's wisdom is because God is the beginning and God is wisdom. They're uniting the two. And you'll notice that in Palestinian it means east. Well, that's where the sun rises. That's a kind of beginning. That's all semantic range of this word. Okay? Bereshit means to create. Okay, so in the Hebrew it's up here, Bereshit, in the beginning God created. Alright, bara is the same in the Aramaic, pretty much. Okay, see that? It's just vowel pointed differently. Alright, because they're using Hebrew letters rather than Aramaic letters. Okay, and this is the word for God. It should be. Yeah, this is the word for God. And you can, if you want, you can learn the Aramaic. That's pretty much why I'm doing it. You can learn the Aramaic as you study the Hebrew. If you know the Hebrew or the Greek, you can start learning the Aramaic. That's actually, I use Bible to learn any language I don't know, because I can set up multiple versions and set up one of the versions as the language I want to learn, and then I can just track it. All right. So that's with Aramaic. Now, then there's also the Peshitta, which is also in Aramaic, but it's only for the New Testament, so we have to go to the New Testament to see it. And one of the things you find out right away is that the Aramaic is translating. It's not the original, because when you have Greek words, okay, that it's not showing. Why isn't it showing the? Oh, this one doesn't have it. Wait a minute. Let me go back to the Aramaic. Alright, see, this is what Aramaic really looks like. It looks very much like Arabic. It's really annoying. And so what I did is, this is also Aramaic but with Hebrew letters, so it's easier for me to read. Alright, and then this is the translation. This is a literal translation from the Aramaic. Alright, and while this is a genuine, word like in Hebrew, and you would say it that way if you were saying it in Hebrew, as you get into other passages, you find out that really what all this is a translation of this. Okay, here it's not so easy to tell because the words are generic and all that. So if you're just looking at the begats, you can't tell what's the native language. But when you get into a passage like Matthew 24, okay, there are a lot of idioms. You have to pick a passage where there's a lot of idioms. Not here, not in this verse, but in other verses, like, let's say 9. Okay? When you start to compare this with this, you realize that they're translating the Greek. Okay? So pick a passage that's got a lot of idiom, Greek idiom in it, and you'll notice that this is translation Aramaic. It's not using Hebrew idiom for the same thing. It's trying to do a word for word translation of the Greek. Okay? Now maybe Matthew 24 isn't the best example, but there are examples. But in any event, as you can see, PHA is a version of the Aramaic that's written with Hebrew letters. And then here's a literal translation. See here, look in the bottom left hand, Peshito NT in Hebrew letters with accents and vowels. That's what I would use to compare it with. And then the ETH is the Etheridge translation of the NT Peshitta. Alright, and it's in public domain, which is good. Alright, so that you can make your comparison. Then down here I've also included other Peshittas. Alright, the OSC didn't have anything for this verse. That's a dead giveaway. And then the OSS has this, which is Sinaiticus, whereas this is Curetonian. Okay, this is Sinaiticus, and they would have had available the Greek. So it's no wonder that this one has a verse, but this doesn't. Okay, so they didn't necessarily have access, so there's no verse. Okay, and then here's another version with Hebrew letters, PEH. Alright, versus PES, okay, which is the actual Aramaic letters. So you can compare and thus learn how to read the script, because here it is with Hebrew letters and here it is with the original Aramaic letters. Alright, and then this is a modern Hebrew New Testament. You can see how different the Hebrew is. And this is Delitzsch. Delitzsch believed that the Gospels were originally in Hebrew. He spent a lot of time, explaining that. And I'm sorry, but he was a nice guy and he did a lot of good hard work. But on this topic, because he just wanted to believe it. That's all. When you want to believe something, no amount of truth is ever going to dislodge you. Okay, so God has to slap you upside the head. But at least you can see, this is how you can set it up to even learn, Aramaic. And again, let's see if I can show that. My favorites window. Here's what the Aramaic version looks like. Okay, in English, I've got the Complete Jewish Bible because I figure they're going to be using Aramaic. There's the ETH Peshitta. And then there's the Jerusalem Targum, because I wanted to see that. Targum just means translation. Okay, and I've got King James with Apocrypha, the Lewis Peshitta. Okay, so you just look for the word Peshitta, and then you can click all those boxes. Alright, and then in the Hebrew, because the Peshittas are bundled with it, you're pretty much picking everything. Alright, notice how I'm picking the morphologies also, because that's the only way you can get to see. You have you have to pick the morphologies to actually see the words, although I don't know why the morphologies aren't displaying. Let's try that again. Favorites, edit and search. Oh, maybe because I selected Peshitta only in English. I forgot to select the... I thought I selected them. No, I didn't select them for that. Okay, but what about the Aramaic? Okay, I did select them for that. They're all selected. Okay, so maybe I'm just using the wrong version here. Okay, let's have a look. We get past the Greek first. It's not displaying the morphology versions. Okay, so why isn't it displaying the morphology versions? I don't know. I'll have to, maybe I had to reboot to get it. But at least you can see this is a basic idea, so that you can start comparing the Peshittas too. This is new to BibleWorks 8. I think it was in BibleWorks 7, I'm not sure, but it's definitely in 8, and it will of course be in 9. 9 is not much different. 9 just adds the actual manuscripts that you can start to see. Instead of our transliterations of them, okay, they will have the actual photocopies of the actual manuscripts, and you can search on them. That's a major thing in BibleWorks 9 that makes it worth buying. Okay, so signing off for this segment. Okay, in this increment we're going to talk about a different kind of favorite called parallel versions, and you've seen me do this before, but I didn't really do it the way you're supposed to. Let's just make one, but we're gonna like be kind of fancy with it, okay? We're gonna make one that goes kind of like this. We're going to add, alright, and that's going to be your default based on your current or last one that you made, your last favorite. In other words, you can take a favorite that you made up here, and instead of turning it into a sort of display like this, you can turn it into columns. Like I said, some people really like columns. I can't stand them because then I have to keep scrolling down. So now we've got a parallel that we just clicked add. You didn't do anything, you just clicked add. And now instead of it being search and display, they're all in parallel. Well, you'll notice that there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's too many in parallel. So we're going to edit that. Okay. Now notice also that this time we're creating a parallel that isn't with Bibles of the same language, but rather different. Okay, so now I think what we're going to do, none of these are really what I want. We're going to take the BHT because that's really helpful. Make that one of the parallels, although maybe we're going to have to get rid of it because you really shouldn't have more than 4. Yeah, let's get rid of it. Let's clear that. Whoop, it cleared the whole thing. Not good. Well, not that bad either when you consider. Okay, English. Alright, let's look at our English Bibles. They're in alpha order. I wish that setting up your other favorites was this easy. This is actually a lot easier. But we have to pick who's going to be our English. Well, actually, I first want to pick the Hebrew. And your default Hebrew that you're going to want to pick is the Leningrad. So you add that there. And the next one you're going to want to pick is going to be Greek. Okay, and you're going to want to add the BGT is the most looked at. It's a combination of the UBS 4 and the NA 27, which is really the same, almost identical New Testament, And then you got the LXX for the Old Testament. So we're going to pick that as our next version. And then we got to go to, let's go pick one that's English. And probably, just because it's got so much commonality, we'll pick the King James Version. And for the sake of most people that are used to it, I'm used to it too, but it's very off-putting. The language is just too old for me. But I use it all the time for tracking translations. Tracking the translations, so that's a good use here. We can pick the King James Version with the Apocrypha. We can pick it with the Strong's and Geneva notes. We can just pick the straight old stick in the throat King James. We can always change it. So let's add that. Okay. And then let's pick some other language. I don't want to pick the Peshitta, although that's a good idea. Let's pick something in French. Louis Segond is usually the best French Bible. At least it's the only one. I have one test that I use, which is James 4:5 for Bible translations. And I also tested against Luke 1:15 and Galatians 1:15, and Louis Segond passed those tests. So we're going to put that there. So did the Regina Valera 1960. But no English Bible passed it. So here we go. We got 4 parallel versions. So we're going to say okay. But I got to give it a name. So we're going to say, you want to give your things a descriptive name, not just 1, 2, 3, or 4. So we're going to say WTT, B, this is about as descriptive as it gets, even though it's long, KJV, LSG. So you know exactly what it is. Alright, so that's a parallel favorite. That was pretty easy to make. It's not as, it's the other one that's hard to make. So if you find making these kinds of favorites daunting, well then make a parallel version. Okay, so now we're done, and we got ourselves a little parallel version. Now, here's your parallel versions icon in the top window. Looks like, 4-square window. And of course that comes up again, and I don't know, oh, that's to make one. Okay, well, how about if I want to just display it? We come down here, how come we can't display it? Hello, synchronize windows. Yeah, okay, that's not intuitive either, but it's a program. Programs are never intuitive. They make them in too much of a hurry, and they're trying to do too many things. Okay, you pick this if you want to create one, and you pick this for the ones you already have. So there we go. See, now that's pretty neat. That's like the Synoptics tool. The Synoptics tool is neat. So see, I don't particularly like it because it's columns, but you have to admit it is kind of neat. And they synchronize. See, it's the same thing that we saw before, where you can do next verse, and they all move up. Past verse, next chapter, okay, and book. And that's why you see how important these tooltips are. You're not going to remember what all these buttons are. I don't remember them till yet, and I've been doing this for 10 years. There's your Strongs if you want to turn them on. There, if you want to change the versions that you're comparing in parallel and their limits, well, there you go. Here's the browse mode. See? But it only works for the first window. Okay, which is kind of dumb. You're now not in browse mode for this window. Oh, you have to be in this window. So you have to click somewhere in the window, and then you should be able to do that. Yeah, see, you have to click in the window. So you have to do them individually. Okay? That's if you wanted to do that, which is kind of defeats the purpose because you're already comparing. But see, if let's say you had 4 English translations, or 4 language, or 2 languages, German and French, or English and French, 2 English, 2 French. then this toggling of the brows would be important. But you have to do it individually per window. Okay, so you have to click in the window and then hit the feet. Click in the window and then hit the feet. Please tell me I'm still recording. And then look, your analysis window goes also by the one you're in. Okay. And it's a lot simpler to use. This is more like BibleWorks 5 was. Okay. So see here I've got all my lexicons for the Greek, but see that's what I don't like about it, is I have to scroll so much. Of course it's on 2. Let's put it on another word. Okay, that's not too often used. Glaceon. You have to, if you move your mouse carefully, you don't have to hit the update key. No, wait. You have to be careful where your mouse is. See? You can click on that if you wanted to. But see, I got all my lexicons still here, but I just have to scroll forever to see them. But at the same time, given the way things are, you can do this individually. So this is somewhat of an advantage, because you can like put on Kadosh. All right, it should be Kadosh, Kadesh. Okay, it's not indexing it right. It's got it in the wrong order. Alright, we'll see. You're going to have to either hold down the shift key if you want to move to the window. But it's not. Pick another one. I don't want a cardinal number. Let's do you. Okay. Hold down your shift key and then move your mouse. And then you're getting all the words that are related to it, and this is there. 12 should be. You're getting your default. See? 12 is my default, so that's what I'm getting. I'm not getting all the lexicons. Okay, that's all only in the resource window. Can you see them all for Hebrew? Okay, but you got all this scrolling to do, and maybe you don't care about that. But see, I get tired of scrolling, and I get tired of using this thing. This is really annoying. Of course, I've set my scroll bar to be really small. But as you can see, there's a certain advantage, because see here, because it's the KJV, you're getting Strong's. Okay? And you're not going to get your default Hebrew lexicon, because you're in the KJV, and it's only going to show Strong's. That's all you're going to get. And your Geneva BibleWorks. And LSG is indexed for Hebrew. That's another reason to want it. But it's for Strong's. See, LSG is indexed for Strong's. This is also the same as Strong's. Okay, so that gives you some ideas about how you might want to use it. And for some people, that's going to be preferable to the much greater hassle of setting it up this way. I prefer it this way because I like it. I like things being wide. I like seeing whole sentences that don't take up much space. So I like the width. But if you would prefer the simplicity of doing it this way, then you really should use the parallel favorites. And now you've seen how to do it. Signing off.